everyone, it's Jen here and welcome to Jen's World About Art. So today I'm going to do a watercolour kookaburra for you. So I start off by drawing the basic outline, getting all the details where I want them, and I'm doing that with my mechanical pencil, and I draw the stump in and I just add a few extra details, and then I will get into the watercolouring. So I start by adding burnt umber cobalt blue to make a nice grey for the beak and just the beginning layers of the eye, and I add a little bit more burnt umber just to brown it off, and then I add a little bit of transparent sienna to the eye, and then I also take that around the brown parts of the bird, so the top of the head and around the wings, and I start to build up the layers. I go back in with a little bit of burnt umber and I start to darken up the next layer and go into where everything's going to be a bit darker around the wings and the head, and I add a light grey mix around the white parts of the bird and the tree stump just for the base, and then I add some burnt umber and some blue around the edges of the log that the bird's sitting on, just for a bit of texture and just something a bit different. I also add a little bit of purple just into the shadow areas, but I'll add to that later. Now I go in with a bit more burnt umber and start to add sort of some texture around the back of the bird and around the wings and the head. And I go around the eye, I darken up the eye with some Payne's grey and also go around the beak a little bit with that. And then I add a little bit of caput mortuum to the bottom of the beak, because the bottom of their beak is lighter, and I start to build up around the grey areas again, also around the feathers with the next layer. I add a little bit of feather texture as I go, and then define around the beak a little bit more and around the eyes. Then I add a little bit of Indian red just around the back of the bird, and I start to add just a few different colours just for a bit of interest. It just warms things up nicely, I think. And I'm leaving the white of the paper as the white of the bird, so you'll see me working around and leaving little white spots on the wings of the feathers on the wings. Then I go back in with transparent sienna mixed with a little bit of burnt umber just to start darkening the darker areas on the tail, on the wings, and a tiny bit of diluted transparent sienna around the belly of the bird and to the shadow areas. Then I go back to working on the wings again. And I start to darken up around the wings. So I make a purpley colour and take that around the wings and around the top of his back. And I go to do a bit more work on the tail with that same colour that I'd mixed. Now I start to add to the shadows on the bottom side of the kookaburra, and I use that same purpley mixture, and then I just finish the tail with a little bit of transparent sienna, and I start to add just a little bit of texture here and there just with what's left on my palette, and then I go to work on the toes. So I add a deep sort of indigo shadow colour under the toes and under his little rear end. Just check that he's drying off nicely, and then I go onto the wing with a little bit more Indian red with a bit of burnt umber mixed in, and then more transparent sienna on the tail and a bit of burnt umber onto the head. Then I start to darken up the darkest darks. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'd love it if you click like and subscribe and click on the bell icon. I also have a Twitch channel, Wild Jen Arty Gamer, where I stream pretty much 7 days a week creating these pieces. I'd love it if you'd pop a follow over there. I'll have all the links listed below. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, everyone. Have an awesome day, and I'll see you next video. Okie doke. Bye.